Hi, I'm Saki, and I'm going to teach you how to dip your chips properly. There is a right and a wrong way to dip your chips. I know you're thinking, right, next thing you're going to do is tell me how to pick my nose. You're probably thinking that you already know how to dip a chip. You don't need pointers. But I'm going to show you some dipping techniques that will enhance your life experience. I'm going to show you some common chip dipping mistakes to avoid. I bought so much hummus for this tutorial. Okay, let's dip some chips. Mistake number 1, using just the tip. If you have even the slightest amount of chip dipping experience, you'll probably already know this. The tip does not have very much surface area, which means you can't scoop much. Check out how much more salsa you get if you use the side of the chip. That brings us to tip number 1. Your chip is a squeegee. The business end of the squeegee is this long edge. Using the tip of the chip to dip is like using the handle of a squeegee to scrape. It's not very effective. The tip is absolutely terrible for scraping the bottom of a container. Use the side of the chip instead. Another consequence of using the tip is that it creates a lot of surface area. Look at all those hills and valleys. You know what that looks like to bacteria and mold?
Say, that's some prime real estate there.
And for guacamole, there's the added threat of oxidation. Once that dry, crusty brown layer forms on top, party guests avoid that shit like dog poop on the sidewalk. So, to reduce surface area and to improve the dining experience and health of your party guests or yourself, remember, your chip is a squeegee. Okay, mistake number 2. Unsupported heavy dipping. We've all done this before, and some people still do it. We try to load up the chip with a beefy scoop of goodness, only to have it break. Now, don't blame the chip for being flimsy. Some foods are by nature more delicate than others and thus require more support. So, tip number 2. For heavy dips, support your chip. Place a finger on the backside of the chip before you take a scoop. I don't know why people don't already do this. Maybe it's because they're paranoid about getting their hands dirty with the dip, or getting the dip dirty with their hands, whatever. Check this out though. If the dip is thick, like hummus or guac, the chip is going to carve out a trail and make way for your finger. It'll clear out a path like a bulldozer. Your finger will be safe. Your finger will be shielded by the chip. Look how much hummus I just scooped with this flimsy chip. And my finger is spotless. That is a clean finger. Small disclaimer. Do not try this method with liquidy dips like salsa. Your finger will get dirty. You cannot bulldoze water. Okay, moving on. Mistake number 3. This is super common and most people aren't aware that it's even a problem. So, mistake number 3. Dipping out. Can you spot what's wrong with this dipping method? That is what's wrong. That's what's wrong. If you dip from the center of the container outward, you end up chasing the dip off the edge. It's especially bad with chunkier dips like guac and salsa. Oh yeah, give me that morsel of red onion. Oh crap. Yep, edging can be pretty messy. So it's time to stop failing. Here's tip number 3. Herd inward. Start from the outer edge and corral your dip into the center. Look at that, so easy. Another consequence of dipping from the center outward is the buildup of dip on the lip of the container. Not only is this unsightly, it is also messy and more susceptible to mold. Look what happens when you put the lid on. It's just mold central. And then look what happens when you decide to revisit your hummus. Look what happens when you decide to eat leftovers. Oh, great. Now I have hummus all over my fingers. So let's fix that using tip number 1. Your chip is a squeegee. So to recap, the 3 common mistakes to avoid are using just the tip, unsupported heavy dipping, and dipping out. And the 3 tips that will help you become a more respectable, responsible, wholesome chip dipper are: your chip is a squeegee. For heavy dips, support your chip. And herd inward. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. For more videos of this sort, subscribe to my channel. Happy dipping! I'm going to judge you. You will be judged on your ability to dip chips correctly.